Aloha and welcome to Maui Manao. I'm your host, Alan Teixeira, and we'll be discussing the 2014 legislative session with the Maui State Senators, Senator Kalani English, Senator Roz Baker, and Senator Gilbert Keith-Agaran. Thank you so much, Senators, for joining us again.
Sure.
Well, we have finally reached the end of the 2014 legislative session. Yay! And I was hoping we could recap what happened this year. Particularly to start, if we could talk about any legislation that you would like to highlight.
Well, I think we can say with unanimous agreement that it was a very busy session, and I think we passed some really good bills. Maybe we can start. You want to start with the minimum wage?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Sure. 10-10.
10-10.
Yeah. You know, the minimum wage hadn't been raised since 2007, and or 1997.
No, it was 2000.
2007. Yeah. There's some other things that hadn't happened till 97, but so the price of everything has risen, and so we really, I think, felt that it was the right thing to do to help folks at the lower end of the pay scale be rewarded more for their work. And it's a lot of women, single heads of households, and it's not just teenagers, it's people that are over 21. So I think this is a really good step forward.
Yeah, and we compromised with the House too to phase it in over 4 years instead of 3, and we also agreed to raise the tip credit.
Right. So I think all parties, those supporting it and even those that were against it, can live with the outcome.
Yeah, yeah, because it wasn't shocked right away. I think it goes into effect January 1, right. So that gives people some time to make some adjustments, and I think it's a real win-win for both the minimum wage earners as well as the employers.
Even President Obama was happy with the passage of this legislation.
Oh, I did see that tweet.
Yeah.
Oh, he did a tweet. How nice. A shout out to Hawaii.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the Congress had an opportunity to raise the federal minimum wage, and they chose not to.
What you did, very nice.
Yes.
Any other legislation you guys want to discuss that was important this session?
Well, we all introduced bills for constituents, and one bill that I was asked to introduce last year was for an environmental court. It's not a new idea. It's an idea that's been passed in other states. I think some of the people involved with Keep Hawaii Beautiful, Keep Maui Beautiful asked for the bill, and after 2 years of discussing it with the judiciary and with our counterparts in the House, it passed out of conference this year. So now we'll be having a docket that concentrates on environmental issues.
That's really good, and it highlights that sometimes you put a bill in 1 year and it doesn't pass, and you get an opportunity to educate a few more people. The economic situation might be more favorable, and then you can get it passed the next year.
And actually, that is usually the case. Yes. An idea takes usually a few years to go through before it becomes law. What else did we? Well, God, there were so many bills that went through this year, right?
Well, one of the ones that I wanted just to mention, because it comes out of my subject area, and I think will really have a benefit for electric ratepayers in the state, is the PUC restructuring bill. They generate their own income from the dockets and the filings, but they can't use a lot of it, partly because they were an attached agency to Budget and Finance. And Budget and Finance tended to think that the money they had should have been in the general fund, and of course anything that spills over, anything over $1 million carryover does go into the general fund. So we passed a measure that moves the PUC to the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, a little bit more understanding of using special funds, as well as gave them some more staff and resources so that they can continue to do the good work in regulating our electric utilities and other things that come under their jurisdiction. And we just saw some wonderful work coming out of the PUC shortly after we passed this measure, so that's a good thing.
That's great.
Yeah, well, let me talk a little bit about one particular bill that was it establishes the Pacific Asia Institute for Resilience and Sustainability. We call it PAIRS. But it's a very innovative idea, and the concept is to to try and get ahead of our hardening of infrastructure, get ahead of preparing for natural disasters and even man-made disasters, and not only for Hawaii but for the entire region. So we worked very closely with military, with very large NGOs, as well as think tanks and things like that, to create this institute in Hawaii. It's going to be the way that we finally did it was the Lieutenant Governor's office is tasked with liaisoning with the organization to follow some very specific items for the state of Hawaii. So what we wanted to ensure that, even though this will be looking at these issues in the entire region and dealing with all the regional governments, that Hawaii gets something out of it, which is that we get our infrastructure looked at. We look at our, for example, the electricity production, what happens in times of disaster, how do we do food distribution, how do we do medicine distribution. All of those things get covered in this institute. So I'm really excited about it. And, it's, again, this was an unusual bill because it's its first time through and it passed on its first round.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, there was one bill that surprised me, the kind of interest that I got from constituents back on Maui, and that's the private guards bill. And I know that you were working on that. So
yes. Yeah, we passed the private guards bill. We made it permanent so that there's some surety that the registration is going to go forward. But we also relieved the ones that had just finished their registration from having to do their continuing education at the very next cycle. So we've made it instead of annual, biennial. And I think it really serves the guard community well. They need to stay on their toes, and they'll need to continue to be apprised of any kind of new requirements, and also getting their aloha, customer-friendly customer service training, which I think was a big issue with some areas. But Chief Yabuta came over, and he serves on the board of private detectives and guards, and was very supportive of the measure and helped us craft it in a way that we think works for most folks.
Excellent.
The other issue I just wanted to point out, we try to do economic development, and one of the issues had to do with adding an additional liquor class for brew pubs and to raise the gallonage, so it helps the small craft breweries like Maui Brews, but it also helps Tedeschi Winery in terms of what they can do, the amount that they can produce, and still stay in a category that allows them to grow and employ more people. So it was kind of a win-win. People think it's kind of odd that, that particular measure was introduced last year and this year and finally got passed, but it's another one of those where it takes some time to let people know. And the issue with that particular one, we have a new facility going into Kihei at the R&T Park, and without this legislation, their production would have been stifled, and so it would have shut down their growth.
now, one of the bills that I really like was a little bill that you wrote, and that's to help our farmers be able to use their ATVs just moving across a public highway without being cited. And I think it made so much sense that the county actually approached us and said, wait a minute, we'd like the same sort of like the same sort of authority when we're taking our our lawn cutting machines and we're crossing the road.
Yeah. No, that came from the cattlemen's, and the ranchers are saying, look, in the old days we used horses, but now we use ATVs, and legally they couldn't cross the streets. So I think this bill is going to help a lot of our ranchers, a lot of our farmers. I think we require that they have to wear helmets, and they have to have that triangle, the farm equipment triangle in the back. But it makes a lot of sense, and for like Ulupalakua Ranch or Haleakala Ranch, the big ranches on Maui, it'll really help them.
Well, it helps the smaller ranchers too, because a lot of them they're renting. I mean, they're basically have leases of pastures that are not contiguous. They're separated by roads, and I think that's what this helps solve.
Yeah, and you're right. It's the last request was from county and state government saying, oh, can we get the same authorization so that we can move our equipment across the street as well?
Yeah.
So hopefully this will help our ranchers, help our farmers. You know, I know for an East Maui side, you know, a lot of the flower growers will use this because that's how they go harvest their flowers. And you know, previously they just went across the road. Now they can legally go across the road.
You know, another bill we passed, I think is really going to help neighbor islands with their health care, is a telehealth bill. So if you have a consult, you get some treatment, diagnosis assistance by telehealth, they have to pay your provider the same as if it was in the old way of being diagnosed and offered for treatment. So that helps. I know it actually came to my attention from your area, from Lanai, because they don't have some of the dental specialties, they don't have some of the eye specialties over there, and by using telehealth, it allows the specialist to go to that area, remote area, and to be appropriately compensated. So I think for even in our hospitals, they could, if they wanted to, do a consult with, you know, somebody over here on the Big Island and really extend the reach of the services that we have. So I was really happy to see that telehealth bill go through.
Yeah, and it's going to help Hana, Molokai, Lanai, all the rural areas in Hawaii.
Senator English, did that mobile electronic device bill?
Yes, that bill.
That one was interesting as well.
You can stop on the side of the road,
Right.
keep your car running, and still talk on the phone.
No, I actually got to turn off the engine.
Oh, okay.
But, that was a compromise with the Judiciary Committee. You know, basically we struck a nice balance, I think, with the cell phone bill. It allows you to, basically, if you need to call, if you pull over on the side of the road, you know, turn off the engine, now get out of the traffic, and make your call or check your maps or see where you're going, and then get back into traffic, it'll be okay. Previously, you know, what's happening is people would pull over and they would get a ticket. And so that was one thing we cleaned up. The other thing was that we've made it an infraction. So basically, you can pay the fine by mail. It clears up, from what I've been told, you know, about $3 million of backlog in the judiciary system. So, you know, previously you had to go to court. You had to make an appearance. The courts got backed up. And now, you know, there's fines. We've set a little bit higher fines for in the school zones. We've made sure that the bill actually, that's why there's some convoluted language in there, because it allows us to qualify for some federal grants that the Department of Transportation was scared to lose if we didn't put that language in. So I think it came out as a very good compromise. And, you know, hopefully the police can live with it because, you know, it's very cut and dry. I mean, if you're pulled over on the side of the road with the car off, it's fine.
And that's really what we want people to do.
Yeah.
We don't want them to drive distracted. We don't want them to be, you know, texting or checking a map or whatever. They should really get out of the flow of traffic and save themselves some wear and tear.
If we could go on to another topic, I heard that Maui made out quite well in capital improvement projects.
Yes,
Would you
we
guys
did.
like to
Yes, we
highlight
did.
some of those, please?
Well, you know, let's start with some, maybe the small areas. I mean, Lanai. You know, Lanai Community Health Center got $1,750,000 for their building, and you know they really need it, and they've been providing for the uninsured and underinsured on Lanai for a long time. They do very good work, and so you know, I think it was because of our approach. The three of us came together and picked the projects that we thought, you know, has the greatest amount of help for our communities, and this was on that list. So Lanai gets a nice help with the building. Molokai, we did Molokai got a nice number of things too, yeah. The Molokai Homestead Farmers Alliance got some money. Molokai Athletic Complex. We got some monies for Makapia Stream, Kalaupapa Settlement Improvements, Molokai Irrigation System, guardrails. You know, the community college got some monies for land. Molokai Ohana Health got some money. So Molokai did very well in this budget.
Yes. And moving a little bit onto Maui Island, West Maui did okay. West and South Maui did okay too. We authorized special purpose revenue bonds for the developer of the West Maui Hospital. A very key traffic light on Pi'ilani Highway at Kalani Hakoi. That's going to be the entrance to the new high school. It's also a very dangerous intersection, so we want that $550,000 spent quickly to get a light in there. Some money for Malaya Harbor to start taking care of some of the other piers that are deteriorating, and also for Kihei Boat Ramp. So, and then, you know, the basics for some more funding for the Lahaina Bypass and Honoa Pi'ilani Highway and some of those things. But these are some of the new projects that were really important to my district, and I was glad to see that we were able to include them in the.
Yeah, I think besides the public projects, I think we did really well with GIAs too.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the larger construction proposals that a lot of our nonprofits were making. And I think they did a good job in selling their projects to our colleagues. So it made it a little bit easier for us to talk about these projects. I would say the Cameron Center's renovation. I mean, they have a 40-year-old building that really is in need of repairs and modernization. And they're getting $2.2 million. We also supported the Maui Family YMCA.
Yes.
They're getting $2 million for their new gym. And they're going to be raising the rest of the money from the community. And I hope that goes forward. And we've had some small projects too, such as Maui High School. One of the original buildings was our band room. This year, they're getting some money to start the planning for the renovation of the band room and a choir room. I don't know if I went to the concert, the Maui High School and choir concert. Their choir program has made great strides in the 4 years that they've been working on it, and I think that was money that's going to be well spent. And they also got some money to do some renovations on their gym for their weight room.
And they also got $50,000 to help them go to the Turner of Roses Parade, yes,
right. Yeah.
After New Year's. I was so happy for that because I know that's a large expense, and you know, if we could help them, give them a boost to their fundraising, that's terrific. But you know, there were monies for hospital renovation at Maui Memorial, for something that I think is really going to be a great program is the Food Innovation Center at Maui College. I mean, that to me is economic development and really helping our farmers to be sustainable, because it will allow farmers from all of the different niche places on Maui to come in and to bring the produce that they may not be able to sell at grade A quality, but they could use it like strawberries. They could use it for jams and jellies and smoothie mix. And so it's a place where they'll be able to do that production. They'll have a canning line. They'll have a certified kitchen, and they'll also help the farmers with their marketing and other kinds of things. So I was as excited to get started with that program as almost anything we did, because I just see it as a real opportunity to continue to help agriculture grow on Maui.
Yeah, we also did Hale Mahaolu Ivalu with $4 million, and that's the senior affordable housing up in Kulamalu in Kula. You know, we also did, I mean, I'm looking at a number of bridge projects.
Yes.
I'm so happy we got these projects in the budget. A lot of the bridges are on the east side of Maui, but you know, we're starting to look at starting to replace them, looking at shoring them up, making them stronger. We also got some buildings, portables for Haiku Elementary, for Makawao Elementary, Makawao School. So anyway, sorry guys, you know, our light
just turned down on us. It's motion activated.
Oh, very good.
But we also kept the momentum for the new Central Maui Middle School.
Yes.
The money was included, and hopefully in the near future they'll decide where the site is and they can really start the planning.
Well, and you know, for Lahaina Luna, we got 2 positions for the boarding program. That's really going to help that program stay moving forward. And we got, you know, quite a number of repair and maintenance projects for our school. So those are all very important as well. And I know that we got some funding for Hana Health.
Yes.
For Halemakua. And Halemaho'olu, their respite program.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No, a lot of our programs got funded. I mean, I'm looking at some of the lists here. You know, that Kalimo Maui got some construction money.
Yes, that was very important.
Kinke Kaulike, you know, $18 million for the new auditorium. long needed and long awaited for. So, like I said, really great projects. Also, the big ones, Kahului Airport, the access road, the rental car facility, all of these big items that we need for all of Maui to operate, we got in the budget. There's even some money for the upcountry highway.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to trudge forward with that, which is a good thing. We've seen a lot of road rebuilding, repaving going on in Maui, and that's really important because there's a lot of wear and tear on your car if the roads are not kept up. So we're excited about those going forward as well.
Can we touch on grants and aids in a bit, on some of the Maui groups that were awarded grants and aids this session as well?
Well, we covered some of them.
Some of them, yeah. But
because we talked a little bit about some of the program ones along with the CIPs.
Well, like Makahanaka Ike got some monies, about 100,000, 102,000 I think it was. And they do projects in East Maui. They go in and help fix the kupuna's homes. They help build buildings at the school. And they teach the kids these skills. So they teach them how to do math, how to do all of the stuff, the skills through construction. And then usually they come out and they're certified. They're really good construction workers, and they can go into work. So that I'm really happy with that little program. It's doing some great things.
We had Hui Malama Learning Center got a grant to assist them, and one of the ones that I'm excited about because it really shows how Maui is a leader in certain areas. And this was the program to expand the Women in Technology STEM education program from Maui to the rest of the state. And that's kudos to Maui Economic Development Board for continuing to help our youth see what the opportunities are in science, technology, engineering, math programs. And they're fostering young women going in, as well as nurturing the program for some of our young men as well. So it's exciting to see it be validated and going statewide.
And not to forget, we got some monies for upcountry water pipelines.
Yes.
And that's so needed. Every year we put some monies in, but this year it's about $6 million and maybe more. So hopefully we'll get those pipelines in and people can get their water meters from the county.
So, even though we were not able to take the cap off of the transient accommodations tax to give more monies to the county, we did add, I think it was $10 million each year for county resources. But by doing some of these projects that sort of cross the lines between whether it's a state project or a county project, by assisting the counties with some of their infrastructure needs, it really is a boost, and it's something that then they don't have to fund by floating bonds or paying cash for.
Excellent. Well, we have some time left. If we could discuss possibly some of the notable confirmations that the Senate did this year. Every year you guys confirm.
Well, we had Supreme Court Justice.
Nice.
Mike Wilson was confirmed as the latest justice to the Supreme Court, and we just confirmed a district court judge for the Third Circuit, which is the Big Island.
Well, there's been some pretty famous confirmations, but let's talk about some of the other ones. Like Pua Gomes.
Sure.
From Hawaiian Homes, Upcountry Hawaiian Homes, but she was confirmed to the Hawaiian Homelands Commission. And that's really great for us on Maui, because she grew up on the homesteads, she lives on the homesteads, and she's well connected in the community. So, Maui's well represented there.
The committee that I chair has jurisdiction for lots and lots of boards and commissions, from realtors to the construction trades to all the health professions, and so we have a lot of confirmations. Dr. Barry Shitamoto was recently confirmed to the Board of Medicine, and Scott Shirley, I still think of him as a Maui realtor, although he actually now lives on the Big Island, but he was reconfirmed to the Board of Realtors. So those are two that right off the top of my head I can think of from Maui that were confirmed or reconfirmed this year.
Yeah, and some confirmations I think seem to have more notoriety in the media than they really do around here, because I don't think Don Horner was all that controversial,
Yeah.
really. I mean, he was very well qualified. He's kind of the kind of person, the kind of experience, who's, if he's willing to volunteer for
the Board of
for a
Education,
board as,
yeah.
as hard as the Board of Education, I think you really have to think hard about not reconfirming him
Yeah.
if he wants to serve.
Yeah. And, you know, another controversial nomination that the governor sent down was Representative Jessica Woolley to serve as the Office of Environmental Quality Control, OEQC. And, you know, people may not have personally cared for some of her positions, but if you look at her background, she was eminently qualified. And for me, that's, you know, very important. And I think that's been one of the hallmarks of both the public members and the licensee members that I've seen for my boards and commissions is they've all been extremely well qualified.
So, you know, with this particular session, I mean, we're on the last day of the session. I think if you look at it overall, Maui County did extraordinarily well. Not only in policy, in grant and aid, in CIPs, and, you know, we have to tell people that just because we got it in the budget doesn't mean that they get it. So now they have to go to the administration side and lobby them for release and say that our projects are ready to go, please release the money. So starting from July 1st, the governor can release monies under this budget. And for all of those who got something in the budget, you know, please, now you have to deal with the executive side.
Yes.
Because I had one organization, you know, sort of say, "Oh, well, do they send us a check?" And I said, "No, it doesn't work that way." You know, you have to get the other side to release it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a perfect example is the Lahaina Luna Foundation. They put a grant in aid, got it for $1.5 million, I think it was, to help with the last little bit of the stadium project that was totally done by the foundation and with the good help from the community. And 2 years ago, they finally got the money released about a week ago. So, you know, not only do they have to dog it, but sometimes we have to dog it for them as well.
But Maui does have an advantage now because we do have one of our own end administration.
That's right.
And I think
It does help.
Lieutenant Governor Satsui is very familiar with a lot of these nonprofits, a lot of these people, a lot of these projects. Some of these projects he started. So I would hope
The
that
Central Park.
Yeah, Central Maui Park.
Yeah.
Senators, I'm sorry I have to close it up now. We're running out of time, but thank you so much for joining us again. It's always a pleasure. Thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of Maui Manao. Aloha and mahalo.